John the Baptist was out in the wilderness, and then once he had prepared the way for Jesus, he was arrested and sent to jail. And that's when the doubts kicked in and wondered if Jesus was really the Messiah that John had been preparing for. So he sent his disciples back into the wilderness to speak to Jesus. And Jesus said, "Look what's happening. Yes, you were right. Be affirmed in what you prepared." But he had his doubts, and he wondered if there was going to be life in Jesus. And there was. Transforming life, like streams in a desert or in a wilderness. Like John the Baptist's words were streams of life in a wilderness. In the Isaiah reading that we heard, these words were included. "The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad. The desert shall rejoice and blossom. Like the crocus, it shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing. In the dry and barren places, there will be rejoicing and blossoming, rejoicing and singing. In the place where there seemed to be no life, life would flourish and abound." Easier to see in a picture. This is the Atacama Desert in August 2017. The world's driest desert blooms with hundreds of flowers after a rare rainfall. All that life, all that potential, all that colour, all that flourishing, just hidden in the dry desert. And then the rain comes and the seeds flourish and blossom. A gorgeous, wonderful picture of life where there seemed to be no life. It's a wonderful image of what God can do in our hearts and in our lives too. It's a wonderful image of what God can do in a church where it seems as though there might be barrenness or dryness or a wilderness. God brings forth light that is just hidden away, all that life. Isaiah goes on to say, "For waters shall break forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The burning sand shall become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water." A wonderful image of life flourishing again in the burning sand, the thirsty ground. Does that sound like our church, the thirsty ground? Does it sound like our souls, our spirits, longing for life that can come from the waters that shall break forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert? Another image of a living stream in the desert. Look how that water transforms that place. These are strong and powerful images of what God can do amongst us as a church and amongst us as individuals. And St. Michael's PCC, amidst looking at buildings and finance and a range of other things, has been thinking about how we can deepen our spiritual lives in the coming year, where we can have this life flourishing in places where there may be a desert, new water, new blossoming. And so far, we have come up with 3 things. There will be more, but 3 things. The first of those is going to begin very soon in the new year. You may know or you may not know that we are in year A of the liturgical calendar, which means that we focus specifically on Matthew's Gospel. We had a reading from Matthew's Gospel this morning. Each of the four Gospels have their own distinctive character. And as we're going to be focusing on Matthew's Gospel in our worship in this coming year, Gary Connell and Rob Rolfe thought it would be a good idea to help us get an overview of the key themes, to help us to have an insight and a greater understanding of Matthew's Gospel so that it can communicate to us and God can use those words to deepen our faith this coming year. And so last week I let you know about this course that starts. There is information sheets at the back of church about it. It's going to be done on Zoom on a Monday evening and a Wednesday morning for 5 weeks in a row, looking at 5 key themes. And I did send out the information by Facebook and by email, so most of you would have received that information. I strongly encourage you to participate. It becomes very easy to sleepwalk through our faith. Very easy for it to kind of slip away or not to be central to our lives. And this is one opportunity, one life-giving stream that we can use to bring freshness and life into our spiritual lives and our relationship with God. So I strongly recommend and encourage the course that Rob and Gary are leading in the new year. The second thing that's going to be happening is in Lent, and we are hosting at St. Michael's and with our partner church, St. Columba's in Banners Gate, a retreat in daily life. So what is a retreat in daily life? Retreat usually means that you go away to somewhere to spend specific time with God. Not all of us have the opportunity to do that. So a retreat in daily life is when we give that space and time to God in our daily lives, in the ordinary, in the stuff that takes place week in, week out. And we are privileged to be receiving a team called Man Racer, and they are coming, and they are a team of prayer companions. And they will help all of those who wish to participate have a retreat in daily life through the period of Lent. All those who are participating will gather together at the start of Lent so that the retreat is explained and chance to ask questions about what happens and all of that. And then we gather together at the end of it as well, so we all come together. But in between time, it will have been arranged for all the participants to meet with a prayer companion once a week for about half an hour. That means that we'll be at a time that is mutually convenient. It can be in person or it can be online. There may be an opportunity to meet in church, your home if you wish, or at a coffee shop, or wherever you find will work. And the prayer companion will help you explore a theme that emerges in your own spiritual life that you can explore through Lent. And that will be a stream in the desert. It will lead to flourishing and blossoming of our relationship with God. It might sound a bit scary, but it really isn't. These are trained and experienced prayer companions, and it's about each one of us. They don't come with an agenda. They just guide us on the journey that we're taking. And it will be an amazing thing for those who participate. And they say anybody, no matter how many people, can join in. This is not an exclusive thing. It's for everybody who wishes to take part. And the more of us who take part, the flourishing that will take place in the life of this church will be a wonderful thing. So there will be some more information about that in January, because it will start in about sort of the middle to the later part of February. So another life-giving stream. And thirdly, we're going to have a church retreat. This time it is about actually physically going away for a couple of days. This is a picture of Fox Hill Retreat House in the Diocese of Chester. It used to belong to the Pilkington family, who made glass windows and other sorts of things out of glass, and they donated this house to the Diocese of Chester. It's set in a wonderful setting of grass and woodlands. It's got a lovely chapel which you can see just to the side of it, a more modern extension, an old house. It's a wonderful place. I recently went there on a retreat myself, and it's really good. And so we will have the opportunity to go on a retreat for 48 hours, so starting on an afternoon through to lunchtime 48 hours later. And we have the capacity of 26 people, mostly single rooms, one or two double rooms. All the food that is laid on. It's a lovely place to relax. There's meeting rooms, there's a wonderful chapel. And it will be a time for those people to go away and spend some time to God on their own and also together. We've got two possibilities about when to go. And I need this sheet, because we wanted to just get a sense of which would be the best time to go. And so at the back of church, there's a large A3 sheet, and you can put your name down, and there's the option of Friday the 12th of May to Sunday the 14th of May, or the option of Monday the 19th of June to Wednesday the 21st of June. You're not committing yourself to saying you are going, but we just want to get a sense of whether a weekend or a midweek would be the most suitable. And if we find that midweek is the most popular, it doesn't mean that in the future we might not do a weekend one as well. So this is the first time we're doing this. It's not like the church weekend when we all went away, which was a lot more energetic. This is a quieter, more reflective occasion. So that's at the back of church, and if you could please indicate, and you can tick both if the weekend and the midweek is fine. It also says what the costs are. The weekend is £185, that's fully inclusive accommodation and meals, and the input, and the midweek is £170. This will be another stream in the desert, and you've all received this by email, most of you, and on the Facebook as well. So you can reply, because probably you haven't got your diaries and you won't know if those are free or whatever. But please respond today if you can, because we've got both of those reserved, but we need to decide which one. So just to help us indicate what is preference, that would be fantastic. So, this is not to say that there isn't faith and prayer and spirituality flourishing at St. Michael's. But if we rest on our laurels, then there's always the possibility that we can become stagnant as a church and stagnant as individuals. And we don't want to see that. So let us embrace these opportunities for the life-giving stream of God Jesus himself is described as the living water to flow in this church and in our hearts and in our lives as individuals and together as a faith Christian community.